Hi students, let's talk about one of our lab activities this semester, Project Budburst. So Project Budburst is run by the Chicago Botanic Garden, and it's an example of what we call a citizen science project. So what Project Budburst is trying to do is they're trying to get people to collect data for them about trees, and they're trying to see how certain life cycle events in trees, things like when the leaves first come out in the spring, when we see flowers, when we see fruits, those types of things, when they're occurring every year. And we're making long-term comparisons year over year to see if there's any correlation between the timing of these events and what's currently going on with these increasing global temperatures. So you're going to choose a tree this semester, and you're going to take observations several times. We're going to come out and take observations several times of the exact same tree, and what we're going to do is we are going to note some of these life cycle events, right? So in the fall, mostly probably what we're looking for is leaves changing color, right? But you might have some late trees that actually do sort of seed later in the fall, so that might be a possibility too. But the first thing you're going to want to do is you're going to want to pick a tree. You can pick a tree in your backyard, you can pick a tree in your neighborhood. If there's a park that you like to visit that's close by, you can pick a tree there. I don't recommend picking something like far away, like let's say you take a road trip to Wisconsin and you're like, oh, that's a really cool tree, I'm going to choose that one, because you need to come back to this tree throughout the semester. So please make sure it's something that's close to home and that's somewhat convenient for you. So the tree that I have chosen is a hackberry tree. So I'm going to sort of give you a view of my tree here, and it's not in the best condition. The leaves are a little bit worn, as you can see. We've got some spots here where we've got some insect damage and some other things, but in general it's okay. All I need is a nearby tree. Now for those of you who are like, how on earth would I know what my tree is? If you use Google Photos, or you can download the app onto your phone, you can use something called Google Lens. And Google Lens is actually really good at identifying common plants and animals. So you'll touch the Google Lens button and it'll bring up a search and it'll say, this is what we think it is. And 9 times out of 10, I would say that Google is right about what your tree is. So once you know what you're looking at, you can go ahead then and start to fill out your observation form. So this is the form that I have posted for you all online. So you can print this out, or you can just actually grab a piece of paper and write this information down too. So this is a common hackberry. If you really want to look up the scientific name, you can, but you don't have to. The important things here are the common plant name and where you are. So your lat, your long, and your city and state. For lat long, you can do a couple different things. Again, depending on what program or what type of phone that you have, a lot of your pictures are geotagged, which means you can actually get the lat long from your photo itself if you look up the info for the photo, or else you have an app. Most people have an app on their phone, which is a compass app, and you can use a compass app too to get that information. So we need the longitude, the latitude, and then your city and state. And then the next thing is, what is your plant doing? So you look at our different categories here. Leaves unfolding, leaves changing color, flowers, fruit, leaves dropping, right? Most of what we're going to look at this semester is probably these two categories, leaves changing color and leaves dropping, right? So that's mostly what we're going to do. Again, this particular hackberry, while it has some damage, some insect damage, and probably some water stress damage, the leaves haven't actually changed color yet. So on my form, I would mark no leaves have changed color and no leaves have dropped, right? So those are going to be kind of the two categories most important. There's no ripe fruits, there's no flowers or pollen, right? So there's not a whole lot going on with the tree actually right now, to be honest with you, because we still are sort of in the throes of late summer. But again, we're going to come back to these trees and we're going to keep checking on them, and then by the end of the semester we should see quite a lot of differences. So that does it for your overview of your Budburst protocol. So again, here are the steps. Find a local tree, snap a picture of it, see if you can identify it, and then record some information on that sheet. The next thing you're going to do is you're going to enter this information into a Google spreadsheet, which I have linked for you on our Blackboard course site, and then that's it. And then we're going to collect data all semester long. And then one of the last labs we do this semester actually will incorporate that data into some map making, and we'll do some other sort of interesting things with that information. But again, it shouldn't take you too long. The hardest part is probably going to be identifying your tree first off. So try Google Photos and Google Lens. There's a guide, again, that I gave you directions on how to use a step-by-step tree identification guide. If you're super stumped, send me pictures and I'll take a look at them. And again, as long as it's a relatively common tree, I should probably be able to identify it. If it's a cultivar specifically for landscaping, so cultivars are, sometimes we use special trees in landscaping that aren't natural things that we would see. If it's one of those, I might not be able to give you a great answer, but again, for the most part, we have sort of a set number of easily identifiable trees here in Illinois, and if you're super stumped, send the pictures to me and I'll help you out as best I can, okay? Good luck, everybody. Let me know if you have any questions.